Hey, what's up, guys? So today I kind of wanted to go over the stadium runes and why some are better than others. And you might be thinking, but words, like, they're all the same. What do you mean some are better than others? They all do the exact same thing for their element. And while that's true, because of the inherent differences in each element, they all kind of function differently and set up for different ideas and plans, or are just not as good as the other ones. So if you start with like something like fully forest, right? So the Earth strategies that we kind of have three decks floating around right now. We have decks built around like the Drataya Latagon strategy. So you have Drataya, you have Latagon. That doesn't really need fully forced to do anything. Your goal is to get Apple and Ambrosia and stuff like that and chain them together. But then when you get to the other two main decks, so you have the Centaur Earth strategy where you're trying to kind of burst out the Centaur. Centaur gets protected if fully forces in play, so you want fully force in play with Centaur to do well. And a lot of the Earth Spirit or Elestrals have solid stats in general. So if you're playing the Centaur deck, you're probably playing Spreader. Spreader gets 6 defense fully forced. It's hard to break. Stuff like that. But you can protect Centaur. So fully forced has a fitting there. And then the other really popular deck in Earth right now is this Earth beatdown strategy. So fully forced with basically any Earth Elestral is going to be 5 or 6 attack. So with Tectorus and fully forced to play, that Tectorus has 6 attack. Viserys will have 6 attack, and then it'll go to 7 when you get the next Viserys out. Equal Links is a solid utility Elestral, and it'll get 4 attack plus the fully forced. Now it's a 5, and if you Nexus to it, it gets even bigger. The fully forced, far and away, because of how Earth is set up and how its stats are, is probably the best stadium. Now, following behind that, you probably have Volcanic Forge the second best for similar reasons. You have, your Necruff at 6 attack with Volcanic Forge, Volcari's 6 attack, Volcanic Forge. That 6 number is very important because it gets over basically any defense stat on turn 1 or 2 generally, unless they plop the Sirikun right in play like immediately. So, Fully Forged Volcanic Forge, probably the best two stadiums because of those reasons. You know, in the other elements, like if you quickly glance at water, like your turn one water play is usually like a foamy, or you're playing like maybe a Typhland. You know, you could say, oh well, Galaxy gets a 6 attack, but Galaxy at 6 attack, it doesn't really care in the water deck to get 6 attack with Galaxy because Galaxy's probably swapping the defense of something with a huge defense like Glauby or something instead, or like a Mustache who's already got 6 attack and 6 attacks that number you kind of want to get to beat over any basically defender on your opponent's board. So they're not all as good. Thunder struggles to get past 5 attacks. They have no 5 attackers. Sparket's the only thing that probably gets above 5 attack on turn 1 with Olympus if you have some other synergy going. Um, but Thunder has cards like Riceros at least to stall attacks. Uh, and then if you get to Wind, Airmare is probably your best thing to do with Island Aeolia. It comes to 5/6, so you can either put in play as a 5 attacker, beat over most blockers, or put it in as a 6 defensive island, try to go into something else. Sorely gets 6 attack, doesn't really need the 6 attack. Exalt Hair, you can get it to like 6 attack if you do the Nexus stuff, but doesn't really need it. It's not the point of Exalt Hair. So that's why some of the cards are some of the stadiums, they're weaker than others. Now, the best part about all the stadiums is that the removal for the other stadiums. So having one in your deck in general is pretty good. They'll get removed by the other stadiums. They get removed by, you know, rune removal like P Gust, Equal Links, Thunderstorm, etc. But they're still very good. I personally thought they were all kind of bad at first. Cause I'm like, well, they're easy to remove and stuff, but slowly coming around. I thought they were all gonna be like C tier with Fully Forest being like a B tier, but with how prevalent like that one stat point matters for a lot of times, I'm coming around. I think stadiums are a lot better than I originally had thought. Now, does it mean I'm gonna try to play more stadiums? Probably not. I think most decks want a one of stadium of their dominant element just for that potential stat boost. Otherwise, unless you're playing Earth or maybe Fire, I don't even know if Fire really needs Volcanic Forge. You're probably not playing these. But I think one of the funniest ways to kind of help stop the Earth Beater deck, Centaur decks, is just play your own, Mount Olympus, Atlantis, Island, Volcanic after they play their Foliage Forest just to disrupt them. So you have that going for them. Now, the other thing that they are very good at being is a Nexus hub. So you can potentially play this with, the corresponding element for Nexus Elestrals. Or you could play these in basically any deck that runs a ton of Nexus Elestrals, because you can always misenchant these too. So if you're running, a 3-color Nexus deck with Atlantis, Foliage Forest, Volcanic Forge, with 3 Equal 3 Kinlias, 3 Afros, for whatever reason, you could play a bunch of copies of all of these, do a bunch of Nexusing with them, and then play the appropriate, element stadium that you need, that you just shuffled a bunch of spirits around for. That could be interesting. I mean, that's kind of what like Nexus Shenanigans is trying to do. Is it's a really fringe deck from prototyping phase where we just plopped every single Nexus Celestial in and all the Divine Runes to see what would happen, and it actually plays okay. It's not a great deck, but yeah, they are options if you're trying to make a deck work that focuses a lot on Nexusing and getting spirits on board and shuffling them around with Nexus and receive effects. You could play these for that as well. Though your Divine Runes are a bit better at that. Yeah, that's about it for Stadium Runes. There's not really too much going on. I mean, every element's probably going to get one of these that does the same thing. They're all pretty simple. But don't let the simplicity of their abilities fool you, because, again, because of the just being different elements, they all have different niches and help do different things. And you wouldn't be wrong to play some copies of these in any deck, but not every deck is going to benefit much off of them just because of how the stat lines work out. Now, with your like 2/5 Ash Rabbit and Mount Olympus in play, that's hilarious, getting your Ash Rabbit to 6 defense and kind of shutting down all the other 6 attack stuff going on. But that's not super consistent when you could just play Riceros and stall the attacker anyway, if that makes sense. So I think honestly Mount Olympus is far and away the worst one, but I would still run one Mount Olympus in like a Mono Thunder deck as disruption, even if it's in your sideboard, to deal with the other stadiums. Like, it's just awkward that the stadiums are so simple, where it's less about what the stadium does and more about the stats of the Elestrals, or more about the abilities that other cards have. Again, like Centaur gets protected by Foliage Forest, which is a really fun mechanic, so you have to run the Foliage Forest. It just also happens that all of the Earth Elestrals get significantly stronger with Foliage Forest in play because of how they work, and all the ones that you want to play are really good with Foliage Forest. But then you don't need it in the fruit deck with like a Drataya Lotagon, because they're not really caring about stats, they're caring about using their abilities to do stuff. It's an interesting conundrum. But yeah, that's about all I have for this today. I just thought it was an interesting topic. I want to kind of go into like a bunch of the cycles. So obviously I just spoke about the Nexus Celestials in my last video, or 2 videos ago. And I'm going to kind of take a peek at all the other cycles. If you don't know what a cycle is, it's just same card, different element, what to do because of that element. In this case, this cycle, they all do the same thing, just based on the different element. Yeah, so that's it for this. I hope you guys enjoyed. Just a brief little talk, and I'll see you guys next video. Also, almost at 200 subscribers, unless I somehow hit it before this video launches. It's probably not going to happen. But hey, if you haven't subscribed to me, I would appreciate it. I'm almost at 200, which is like more than 199. But yeah, I'd like any support you guys can give me. Appreciate it. And guys, have a great one. Peace.